When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not what I wear.
And they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why am I facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you. At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not what I wear.
and they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why am I facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you.
Hey guys, wanted to throw this quick little bonus your way. This is an episode that we recorded for our Patreon reviewing the movie Twister. And this weekend, Twisters came out in theaters. So it felt like a good time to put it out on the main feed for all of y'all. If you enjoy this is basically the type of content you can expect to get if you were to subscribe to our Patreon. So if you haven't, check it out, patreon.com/HMN podcast. We do a movie every month that's voted on by the Patreons. We do bonus chats every single week. Sometimes they tie into the episode, sometimes they don't. At a certain level, you can get video versions of the podcast where you can see our beautiful faces. There's a newsletter specifically for the Patreon. There's also a newsletter you can sign up for even without being in the Patreon at geekshmnpodcast@gmail.com. Just shoot us an email and we'll add you to our mailing list. And then, you get to be part of our Slack, and our Slack community is pretty fun as well. So enjoy this little bonus episode that we did, in fact, record in our hotel room at Creature Feature Weekend a couple months ago. Guys, Patreon.
Are you recording right now?
Oh, we're recording. All right.
Oh,
Guys,
right.
Patreon put in the votes, and they had one very clear message.
Yeah.
They wanted to hear us talk about Twister.
Yeah. What do you remember what the other ones were?
I don't.
That's
Oh,
fine.
yes, I do. It was the cat with sunglasses.
Oh, yes.
The cat who wore sunglasses.
Oh, and I picked the fucking one that we said. Yeah.
Yeah, and what did you pick?
It doesn't matter anymore,
No.
but I'm mad that I
Kyle,
forgot.
I gotta show you the list that I have because I think you're missing that the secret is 90s nostalgia.
Yeah.
Is really the winner here.
Well, but then I throw out Airbud, and what gets picked? Not Airbud.
Not Airbud. Well, so
That's always the answer.
So full transparency was that this was actually a tie. It was 50 votes. It was 50% Twister, 50% the cat who wore sunglasses.
Bullshit.
And then was when we realized that all ability to watch the cat who wore sunglasses had disappeared on us unless we were willing to pay for it on the Criterion channel.
Yeah, Criterion. And also, I'm like, That's on Criterion? What are we doing with our lives?
Now, I think
I watched Blood and Donuts on Criterion, and like, it's
What?
not. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Okay, so Criterion doesn't mean anything.
No,
now.
not the streaming service. I think that they like really curate things that don't need to be curated. And it's not.
No one asked for this.
I appreciate it, but I don't think that it's like a general film fan appreciation of
No.
these things.
what I'll say is that I think we made the decision that when and if The Cat Who Wore Sunglasses becomes readily available, we just won't do a Patreon vote that particular month, and we'll just slot that right in to make up for
Did
this.
we see if VHSPS has it?
We didn't, but I can
my
check.
God.
They might.
Can you imagine if Criterion and VHS-PS
have the same title?
They don't even have Devilfish.
All right, but let's just get into the. Well, Kyle. So here's the thing. I had a VHS copy of Twister that I digitized and offered to the boys to watch.
And I think
Scott, did you watch the digitized version, or did you find another way to watch it?
No, I just watched a different way.
Okay. So that thing had the commercials, which starts with Scott. I almost feel like after we record this, I need to show this to you. The most bonkers Space Jam commercial I've ever seen in my entire life.
They were on, like, I mean, we talk about movies being made on speed and coke and all that shit in the 80s. Let's talk about films being like promoted in the 90s. Speed
all the
and
executives
coke.
were like
all the
Scott,
the only people that could
Scott, when I
afford the
tell
coke.
you-
all of those filmmakers became, anybody who was like working really well in that industry then became executives at those studios, and it's just like, oh, it's still cocaine. It's still cocaine.
Scott, when I tell you that this trailer starts off with a voice that's just like, this summer in 1996, lives will change when they see what's happening. And then it's just like, everybody get up. But then it's like the Beetlejuice theme is playing in the background for a part. Like, it is insane.
It felt like a temp trailer.
It did.
It felt like it didn't feel like a fully
It felt like they hadn't
realized
finished
trailer.
making the movie,
Yeah.
but they had to
But
advertise
they
it.
needed to get it out
But then
there.
the second commercial
Oh my God.
is a commercial for the Twister soundtrack.
Yes.
Which is incredible
Yes.
in its own right.
Yes.
Because it's just the Van Halen song.
Katie Lang.
Yeah. Shania Twain. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I forgot that Chili Peppers were on it. And at that moment, I had never realized how entwined the music industry and the film industry were at that time.
Point,
you know what I mean? It was like, I know,
because there was not like a dud. Like it was just like,
No.
oh, here's every big band that we're trying to push on this label at the same time.
film out of a major studio had a major soundtrack that had major artists from their label.
And
you know what
at
I mean?
least one of them would have a music video
Yeah.
Yes,
featuring
correct.
clips from the movie.
Well,
It
so
was
that's
just
the way, because
all
it goes
the
featuring
thing.
the Twister soundtrack, featuring the hit single "Humans Being" from Van Halen, and then plays a clip of the video. Shine on, shine
It was
on.
insane.
Don't talk shit. That song
That's
rules.
the best Van Halen song in my opinion.
How have we been podcasting for 12 fucking years at this point, and we've never discussed and agreed how that is
My
the best
God.
Van Halen
Sammy
song?
Hagar
Oh my
left that
God.
band on the highest of notes that a
Oh
member
my
could
God.
leave that band.
Oh my
but then
God.
they're also featuring the hit single "Long Way Down" from Goo Goo Dolls, and then another quick clip, "Long Way Down," and then
It
just
was
the names flashing on the
insane.
screen of every band that's on this soundtrack.
Insane.
And then the last thing before the movie actually started was what the so I didn't have my window fully open at this point.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a Twister fake out that's just the Tasmanian Devil
Yes.
and Bugs Bunny.
Yes, it was a very odd Looney Tunes. I don't know if it was pre-existing or not, because it also kind of like makes sense for the Looney Tunes world. But there was a Twister promoted. No, I mean I take it back. It had to have been connected because it was the newer animation and whatever. But still, it was a Looney Tunes animation. Basically being like, Tasmanian Devil looks like a Twister. You're going to watch Twister now.
man.
But it
Here's your
literally-
feature presentation, but like as a Looney Tune
I thought the
cartoon.
movie was starting.
I thought
Like,
it was like we were going to pan out and they were watching a Looney Tunes cartoon
like,
about
that's-
a Twister.
That's like the sound design in whatever they did felt like the beginning of a movie.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then it's just like, anyway, there was Tasmanian Devil killing bugs. You ready to watch the movie?
And then the VHS is like, this film has been modified to fit your screen. And you're like, wait, that wasn't part of it. That wasn't part of it at all.
So here's the big question, because Kyle and I talked very briefly about this while we were getting. Oh, by the way, we're at Creature Feature Weekend, guys.
Oh yeah.
How lucky are you that you get the Twister episode of all of us together?
All of us together.
So unhinged.
So
Insanely
this was the first. I put this on the list because I was digitizing the tape, and I thought to myself, I used to love this movie, and I barely remember this movie because I haven't watched it in like 20 years, probably. And like the new ones coming out, and I was like, kind of like a lot of people, like, do we really need more Twister? But after watching this, I kind of feel like maybe. like this movie was awesome.
This movie.
Now, Scott, you said
absolutely
something
rips.
in our group chat where like Kyle made a comment about taking notes, and you were like, notes? I got this movie memorized.
Hell yeah, dude.
Was this a big one in the Roger household in 1996?
Yeah, and the reason why that I've seen this movie so many times is because so my buddy Eric, I think I've talked about this before. My buddy Eric would borrow his dad's camcorder, and we would connect. We would take we would connect it to the AV on the VCR.
Okay.
And then we would put the tape in the VCR,
Yeah.
and then we put a blank tape in the camcorder, and we would make a bootleg.
Yeah.
And I still have that bootleg version of Twister.
Love it.
And I watched this incessantly. Not because I love Twisters. I could not give less of a fuck about the weather aspect of this movie, or honestly, the interpersonal situations. It's just like something that I always put on.
It's a perfect background movie.
It is.
It is a flawless background movie. But I will push back on a little bit of that, because I do think I found myself thinking the following two thoughts when watching it. First of all, there's a lot of characters in this movie, and I don't really hate any of them. Like there's
I agree.
none. Like I'm like, this is insane that there's like 12 characters, and I find them all likable in different noteworthy ways.
For
Like,
all members of being a cult, like
Yeah.
a cult of storm chasers,
Yeah.
they all are likable cult members.
They're very
That's
likable
what
cult
they are.
members.
It totally is a cult.
It's a fucking cult.
This is the thing that I never really thought about with it until you just said that, is that like it's a cult because the old woman that
Yes.
just lets any of them come stay on her farm, which seems relatively self-sufficient. That's the commune.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a commune, and Bill Paxton coming back is
Is
like
like a
what- and
messiah
well,
character.
that's the thing. He's like coming
shit.
back, and he's so immediately welcomed, as if they knew that was part of the reason he was going out. To be
yes.
like, let's bring
It
storm
was his
chasing to.
Rumspringa.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
it kind of was.
he had storm chasing Rumspringa.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like, we've watched a lot of movies.
He was like a Timothy Leary of fucking like of storm watching, of storm
Yeah.
chasing.
We've
You know-
watched a lot of Patreon movies from this same time period that I don't think the special effects hold up as nicely as this does.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
Matt. I
mean, the
just
cow
think
didn't
about
look
how
great.
you watched. No, but think about
cow looked like shit in
how you-
96.
Yeah.
How you watched it. We also watched it on a VHS transfer
In pan and scan.
If we in pan and scan, if anything was updated, if we watched it in fucking HD of all
Why?
things,
It would have looked worse. I
it would
think.
have looked worse.
Why would you
100%.
want to sully the experience?
No, and that's
with
how I want to
HD?
remember Twister forever. We watched it in science classes. We watched it in in Earth science.
Yeah.
That, Volcano, Day After Tomorrow. Any chance we got to like sort of
To watch-
bookend a curriculum?
Well, but
was
here's-
this
Joe
movie.
versus the volcano.
So here's the other
double
thing I was
feature.
thinking about with this, though.
I wish.
There is no. So let me start with this. There's no world where this would be like a main
Dante's
show
Peak.
pick.
That's what it was.
Right? But
Right,
of
right.
all of the movies that we've named, Twister truly treats the tornadoes like a malevolent evil
Yes.
spirit that is like
100%.
It's literally
It's a supernatural
It's
movie.
cosmic horror.
It's like it's
cosmic horror for
like
sure.
it's like every time that a Twister is starting, it feels like a scene out of
Yeah.
a slasher movie.
That
Like it's
shit.
just like an empty, dark house, and just like the wind slowly blows, and you're like, oh no!
You know, I'm gonna make an assertion here. If I were to make a list of favorite eco horror movies,
You would put this
I would
on-
put Twister in the top
Well,
three.
because Kyle, what was the thing you said to me about this movie?
Great question.
Yeah, no, we've been partying a little. You had the best statement where you're just like, I could have done with a couple less tornadoes
Oh, that's
in this
right.
movie.
No, I would. There was one too many tornadoes.
Just one.
Well, I mean, like you could have combined two of these like drama heightening moments into one. Like, you know what I mean? And we could have lost a tornado.
That's a lot of tornadoes in a 2-day period that they deal with.
The other thing is they go
why
from
it's
1
important.
to 2 to a stronger one to a F5, right?
Yeah.
Like that's sort of the
The finger of
trajectory.
God.
And the finger of God. Then everybody goes quiet. The finger. The finger of God. But like
You didn't even know him.
but they like you could go from 1 to sisters to F5. Like I don't need like the bigger one than the 2.
Yeah.
Like just give me 1,
Sure.
2, huge.
Yeah.
And it was like I don't need the extra.
Did either of you also watch this one and think the dad could have just walked away from that door?
Yeah, he was a real numbnuts.
Like he's like trying to hold this wooden door. You're like, I can't hold it. It's like, then let go.
But here's
He
here's
did, Matt.
here's the logic to that though. Is because like now we know that much about tornadoes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that bum
In
fucking
1970,
Kansas.
yeah.
He
and
really
even
thought-
before
he
that,
really-
dude. Like
yeah,
that's
he really
like
thought he could just hold that
50s,
door
like,
closed.
You know, like that's like he doesn't know.
That's why I think it's crazy. Like, here's what I'll say. There should, throughout the like 2 or 3 years that I've been on TikTok, I've seen an insane amount of videos of pretty up close tornadoes. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't have those. People should know enough that when the tornado's that close, that their thought is, let me grab my phone and film
At least
this.
from Twister.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like that scene. Slight spoiler alert for Nope. So apologies if anybody hasn't seen Nope, but like. There's that scene where the camera guy is like, no, I really want to get a good shot of the inside of this alien, and he just never stops filming as he's being sucked up into the sky. Like, that's what I'm thinking every one of those TikTok from like people filming a tornado is supposed to end. It's like you're seeing the tornado, and then all of a sudden you're seeing that they're like 100 feet in the air. Like,
Oh, I really got confused at the end of your argument there, because I thought you were trying to say that like that they should get sucked up into an alien ship at the end of each TikTok.
no, just the same way that scene in Nope is, where it's just the camera shot of him
I
being
think
sucked
Matt
into the
missed
air.
the joke there. Just
I'm sorry, whatever. I'm not used to being up at 10:30 at night.
It's too late.
Guys, we're
movie
literally
night.
Listen, guys, we're literally recording this like 12 hours before, not even like 8 hours before you get this on your
Yeah.
Patreon feeds.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. No, but this was a blast. This was
It
such
was
a good
awesome.
movie. Scott, you haven't said much.
It's
Did
so
you hate
quotable.
it?
No, I fucking love this movie.
Okay.
I don't know. Also, Kyle and I were riffing so hard at the table. I guess you might have walked away to
know.
take a shit. I don't know.
It's always possible.
It's probably Matt did share with me that he now has.
I let Kyle know too. I get.
Well, I'm letting the Patreon
stress,
know.
I get
He gets
stress-induced
poos.
poos. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt's got a little IBS thing going on.
You know, I walked into the hotel room. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, because listen,
was
Matt.
hours
It
what I was
lingered
gonna
for a while,
What I was
but-
going to say, Matt, is that Kyle and I were riffing, and Kyle was also complaining, is commenting that there's more than one tornado in this movie. Why did they name it Twister? And I was
Right.
like,
And we have Twisters coming.
and then I was like, they should have done Twisters with a Z.
I think
and
so.
then really the true genius idea came to us: Twisters with a Z, but there are bees in it.
Absolutely.
Now that's a horror movie.
Now
right there.
let's think about
And there
this.
are no EpiPens around.
Well,
No.
so the new Twister
Nope,
movie
done.
is in fact called Twisters.
Yes.
with a Z.
And
It's cool.
And I can't help but hope that the pitch meeting was exactly like the James Cameron Aliens pitch meeting, supposedly. I feel like I've talked about this before. Scott, do you know this story? Mm-mm. So I'm going to tell it the way that Kevin Smith has told the story, because I like the version that Kevin Smith tells. But this has been told hundreds of times by tons of people in Hollywood, that James Cameron made The Terminator. It was this big hit. So all of a sudden he's like having meetings with different people, and he walks into the room, and there's a chalkboard in the room that they're meeting in, and he writes the word alien on it. And everybody kind of is like, huh. And then he just put an S at the end of it. And everyone leaned in closer and was like, uh-huh. And then he drew 2 lines into the S to make it a dollar sign. And they said, yeah, let's do it. I hope that someone did the exact same thing. Walked into a meeting, wrote the word Twister on the board, threw an S on the back, and then turned it into a dollar sign. And they're like, you know what? We've waited long enough. We do need that
The
Twister.
guy with the cigar just stands up and goes.
Which, here's a fun factoid. I was just trying to pull up the soundtrack to Twister. Twister is notable for being one of, if not the, first film to be released on DVD in the United States of America.
Hell yeah. We love to see it.
That wasn't the first DVD I got, though.
No,
The
certainly
first DVD I got was Lady Hawk.
Is that right?
That's a
Yeah.
hell of a first DVD. Mine was American Pie 2. It was
Yeah,
a
I don't
birthday
remember
gift.
What my, oh
Yeah,
my God.
if you guys want to know how much of a virgin I was, literally, when I went to college, the first 2 DVDs I bought, Lady Hawk, Excalibur, 1981.
Yeah.
God bless you, sir.
That's what's up.
No woman wanted me anywhere near her.
How many fucking Dodges sold after this movie? Like, they showed that Dodge
Man.
truck survived 2 tornadoes, and land at exactly the 45-degree angle to the camera that they
So
would do
macho.
in commercials.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was crazy.
How do you think that they funded this
that
film?
whole movie,
Yeah.
that Pennzoil, like
Did-
the product
Product
placement was
placement is
huge.
ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah.
Did either of you do the Twister ride in Universal?
I loved it.
I don't
thought
do
it
rides,
was like
Matt. You
well
should
because
know
it's
this.
like so it's not a ride as much as it is like a sort of special effects show
Yeah.
that you just stand and watch and
You just
experience.
watch wind blow around you, and then a ceramic cow just kind of comes past you for a quick second.
Crazy.
Is it how long? 10
It's-
minutes?
I don't
5
think it
And
minutes?
like there's a little bit
anymore,
of forced perspective, like that you see like a shack. That
Well, how
gets-
long does it take?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe 5
All right,
minutes.
so I wanted to pull this up. I'm just going to rock through this. This is the full soundtrack for Twister.
I told Scott. Did I tell both of you that I was going to pick it for soundtracking?
It's
And
a great
told me.
soundtracking.
I opted not
But
to
he
because we
was
already
like,
had a
it'd be too
soundtracking
much Twister all
recording.
at once.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm not going to name the songs. Don't really matter here. We're just going to name these artists: Van Halen, Rusted Root, Tori Amos, Alison Krauss and the Union Station. Probably the least noteworthy person on this entire soundtrack. Mark Knopfler, Soul Asylum, Belly, Katie Lang, Lisa Loeb and the Nine Stories, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Goo Goo Dolls, Shania Twain, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, and Eddie and Alex Van Halen instrumental.
What?
Is it
What?
humans being in instrumental version or what?
No, it is a track called Respect the Wind.
Wow, that is.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah,
That's a bummer.
When people are like Eddie Van Halen is like,
Respect the Wind?
And you want to know something else about Respect the Wind?
No.
Only track on this Twister soundtrack to also make it on the Twister Motions picture score.
yeah, because it's an original piece and not a needle drop. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. That makes sense. But also, like,
That sucks.
yeah, I think that sometimes famous musicians really need a handler.
Yeah. They
Also,
need
there was
somebody to tell them
in
to
April
not do
3rd,
this.
April 3rd, 1996. This was the prime time where we were doing stuff like this. There was a Twister pinball machine
Yeah.
released.
Yeah.
It featured
Okay.
modes such as canister multi-ball, the chase multi-ball, and the multi bull.
Are those Twister specific? What is
I don't
that?
know what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know enough about pinball to know if these are like plays on words,
Or like
puns,
did they revolutionize like the pinball machine? with these?
So this is from Sega.
That would be incredible.
Sega got into the pinball game in 1994,
Okay.
and it looks like their specialty was movie tie-in pinball machines.
Hell yeah,
because
dude.
these are the pinball machines that they
soon
produced.
on Horror Finds. Pinball
machines.
tie-ins.
Yeah.
Listen. This is a wild collection of pinball machines. Maverick, Apollo 13, Batman Forever, Baywatch, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I've played that one.
Yeah.
I've played that one.
GoldenEye, Independence Day, Twister, the Star Wars trilogy, Starship Troopers, The X-Files, Lost World, Jurassic Park, Space Jam, Godzilla, Lost in Space from 1998,
Oh my God.
South Park, and Harley Davidson.
Dude.
Now, the South Park
the-
pinball machine
Yeah,
fucks.
I love that pinball machine.
is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
That Starship Troopers game has to be awesome.
It's gotta
too.
be incredible.
Like I mean, if there are sound clips from the movie
Oh
or
my
from the propaganda,
Yes.
If doing the pinball game is the propaganda,
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Do you want to play more?
I did hear
Would you
news.
Would you like to play more?
Oh my God! When
Yes.
you lose,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, dude.
I did hear word on the street through Geekscape, I believe, that Casper Van Dien is reprising the role of Rico in the new video game for.
Sick.
They're gonna
for
make a Starship Troopers video, a new
Yeah.
Starship
Yeah,
Troopers
it's
video
called
game.
Hellbent or Hell
don't
Divers.
know. Yeah, something like
2.
that.
Literally, Helldivers 2 is Starship Trooper.
That's crazy.
All right, well, I think this is good enough for a Twister episode.
I mean,
When are we gonna talk about Twista?
Twista,
Yeah,
the rapper.
yeah.
don't.
What about Twisted?
Oh
Teeth?
shit! Let's get
duo,
Dylan. Let's
the
get Dylan.
ICP Swintle duo.
Where's Dylan at? Get him on the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Get him on the
gonna-
Patreon.
I'm not going to do research or listen to any of that Drek myself. That was the most unhinged laugh I've ever heard from.
At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not.
and they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why did my facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.